right. An Aapc test. It's always fun to do. I was trying to get my CEUs caught up, so I was taking an Aapc test, and it's 20 questions. Some of them aren't really relevant for the quiz, for like the CPC exam, but some of them were quite good for the CPC exam. So I've copied and pasted some of those for tonight's live. Plus I have diagnosis ones to go over, some anatomy ones to go over, and these that I did on the Aapc 20 question CEU thing today had some good E&M ones that were like, what does it mean if you do this? Is that low, moderate, high? Or what does it mean if it's this diagnosis? And that's all you get. Does that mean you code an 03, 02, 05? I thought they were good because they were questions I haven't seen before. Grabbing my diagnosis book too. Actually, I got my new hit picks today for 2022. Fun. All these books. It's got a cool purple color. Well, last year's was purple. This one's like a lighter purple this year compared to last year's. What, James?
Do you want me to set it to like 7:30?
Does 30 minutes give you enough time to get out the door?
Yeah.
You can make your own decision on what time to set your alarm clock.
8:11.
You are getting that old enough. There you go.
8:11.
8:11? The bus gets there at 8:15. That 4 minutes to get out of bed and get to the bus
stop.
stop.
That's what I had to do today.
Well, do it that way tomorrow if that's what you want, dude. So it's a lighter purple this year. Well, you gotta ask me what time you gotta get up. Boy, you've been on this earth 13 years. You ought to know what time to get up for school by now. My goodness. Yeah, thanks, Kimberly, for showing up. Happy to go live. I get so ADHD sometimes, so of course I went to the Aapc website just to show y'all that the CPC exam is documented as being fully 100% multiple choice with only 100 questions on their website because they updated it. But as soon as I got to the AAP website, I was like, ooh, I got to do a CEU for for January. The quiz is already up. So then, I lost focus and went into that quiz and started taking it right before live. And then the questions were pretty cool, so I decided to copy and paste those into tonight's live so that y'all could see some of the cool questions they just posted that I got my hands on, that I answered correctly. So anyway, happy to help. I had physical therapy today. Again, on my little fingers. And they've come a long way. I can make a whole fist now. That one's still curving underneath where it's not supposed to be, but one of these days I need to be able to do that. And that's what I'm having trouble with the last two. But at least I can bend them and I can almost close a fist, but yeah, working on it. Made lots of improvement. I hope everybody's holiday was great. Yes, it does say they have changed their website. Let me see if I can go to it. And it absolutely says all that stuff. Super cool. Let's see if I can get there with going here. I don't know. I don't have my keyboard up because I closed my thingy. There it is. Got all distracted. So if we go to, get that out of the way, we go to medical coding, we go to their CPC, yeah. Ooh, that is so not focused. Come on, camera. Whoops. Make sure this book. There we go. Come on. You can do this. You can do this, camera. So I'm on the official AAPC website. I went to CPC. I went to the exam. And right here it says 100 multiple choice questions for CPC. It's 4 hours long. It is 2 hours for part A, 2 hours for part B if you do it online. That's it. Not too hard. The online is still just one try, is what they're trying to change it to. If you do it in person, I believe you still get the 2 attempts, but it went up. 1 attempt will be $3.49. 2 attempts, which you don't even know if you'll need, will be $4.49 if you do it in person. If you do it online, you only get 1 shot at it for 1 price. So in person, you can still get 2 attempts, but I know there's a problem with trying to even find a chapter that's even given these tests in your area, but you can still definitely get 2 attempts if you want to pre-buy 2 attempts. Let me check chat. It seems to be going off. Let's see. Love all the comments. Thank you for interacting, because I never know if anybody's there or not, because I've got it all up in a crane and I can't see who's here or not unless you say hello. All right. Lovable Auntie is there, and this is PYE Creations. How do I join your Messenger group? I requested to join on Messenger, but no response. There are a couple of people that have requested me on, hopefully on, be sure and only request me at Jen Brewer. Don't go to my Coding by Jen Messenger thingy, because that's not going to work. It's not linked to it. Whoops. I hit the wrong thing. Thingy, because that's not going to work. It's not linked to it. Whoops. I hit the wrong thing. Because for some reason I can't add to chat if you ask me on anything else other than Jen. And then if you do ask me on Messenger through my account on Jen Brewer, there are a couple of occasions where I cannot, for some reason, add a couple of people. And I think it's to do with Instagram. If you are linked to Messenger on Instagram and you ask me on Instagram instead of Facebook Messenger, I can't add you. There is a Jessica. I'm trying to remember the names that I can't add. If I go in and try to add, some people just do not pop up. They need to be able to pop up when I look for them by their name. Sometimes it's, I spelled their name wrong because I kind of remember how to spell their name from one screen to another. But I do have 4 message requests right now. Heather, John is about my car. She is interested. Kels. BZ Banners. I can't find her. When I go to try to add this one, the BZ, it won't come up. If I go, so we know how to spell that right now, BZ. So then I have to go into my chat room, and then I hit the little eye icon. If you have friends that are already in our chat group, you can have them add you. Anybody can add. I don't have an administrative hold on this thing. I can just delete if anybody comes in that's selling something or being obscene, but we don't have that problems. BZ, what was the spelling of that name? I got it on screenshot. But I have to remember how to spell and how to do their names 100% just to get it to go up. BZ Banners or something like that. See, I keep a copy of them so I know. Banders. While I'm in the middle of trying to, there's always something to do. Bander. Banderas. And I can't, and see, this one has a different profile pic than this one. I'm looking for a slow turtle when I do it. So I have to go back in. BZ Banderas. And I can find it in reverse, but there's no slow turtle on all these people. So sometimes I can't find you if there's a Facebook restriction where people can't notify you or talk to you if they don't know you or not a friend of a friend, then sometimes I can't find you and add you to the group. Even though you've talked to me and I've talked to you, sometimes there is a glitch where I can't find you. So just keep harassing me, keep asking me. We'll eventually, sometimes we have to become Facebook friends to figure this out. And once we're friends, then I can find you and add you. But there's a whole process in all this. Usually it's pretty simple because most people don't correct their or change their settings from anything normal. But main thing is be sure you've messaged me at Jen Brewer. And it is a process. I do have to write your name down somewhere or take a screenshot and then go type it out and find you and add you. But I do my very best between everything else that's going on. I'm trying. Keep harassing me. And be sure and please make sure you follow me or ask me at Jen Brewer because my other account is not working to add people to it. Only this one because this is the one that I use to start the chat room. I'm also trying to hire somebody to fix my Medical Coding by Jen website so that I can just have chat there and I'm not beholden to Messenger and trying to find people. If they join my website, then we'll have our own streaming chat room in there. So I eventually just want to move everything to that site so I'm not having half stuff everywhere like TikTok lives versus YouTube videos versus Messenger chat. I want everything all in one place so that y'all can just, and the other thing about the Messenger chat, which I really love, is once you're in there, and if I've ever shared anything, you can go to the files, media files, and you can see every picture I've ever shared or file that I've ever shared, and this has got some really good information on a lot of it because there's screenshots of my books. Sorry about my camera. Come on, focus on the pictures. there's a lot of pictures and things that are here, and then we also have PDF files that are here. But if you haven't been in the group and I put you in the group, you don't get to see the old stuff, which is a pain in the butt. I have to reshare everything. So I want to put it all on my website so that everybody, whoever just joins it, has access to all the PDF files, all the picture files, so we don't have to keep sharing them, and I can organize them like E&M help here or cardiology help here. I want to build up that site so it's much easier and user-friendly for everybody, but I got so many other projects going on right now that it's all separated out like crazy. As soon as I finish doing up these sections for 2022, I will definitely get on that website and get it working faster. I've tried to hire somebody on Fiverr to revamp my website so that it is user-friendly for me, so I don't have to do it all by myself. I created the site, and I've got my tutoring on there, work in e-commerce thingy, so that's working. I have the 2 programs on it that will show you how to prep your CPT book, where to get started. If you are fixing to jump into medical coding and you know you're going to take an exam, a certification exam through HEMA or Aapc, then you can figure out where you're going to start. And the first place you should start is by getting a study guide from Aapc. I like it, sort of. And then also, even if it's a previous year, you can get an older year. Mine's from 2019 and hasn't changed. The 2021 version is the same practice questions and everything. So older versions are good. Then you need to get you a hold of a CPT book. Even if you get a 2021 CPT book, you can still use it for all of 2022. And I just published a 25-page document that will show you how to turn your 2021 book into a 2022 book so that you won't miss any questions for that. And I tell you what page numbers to put the new codes on. You might not be able to get all the parentheticals on because we're going to be limited on space, but you can at least get the CPT codes there and their descriptors for sure. I went through all that document and put it up for like $30. So that'll save you $400 right there just to do that if you want to do that. But my website at least has screenshots of how to prep your CPT book. And if you ever wanted to do tutoring with me one-on-one, you can schedule it there. It works great for that. But it's not as user-friendly as I'd like it. I'm pretty tech-savvy. I used to run a bunch of websites for Stephanie Myers when she was a book publisher going on for a bunch of stuff, and I created all kinds of websites. So we were doing WordPress back then and lots of things. So I'm not inept. It's just time is really one of the factors. And plus this all snowballed after just a few TikToks saying how unhelpful the information is out there on the internet for how to pass the CPC exam. I thought it was just, worrying me because I kept seeing so many people suffering. They were truly suffering to pass this exam when there's an easier way. So anyway, it just kind of blossomed really fast, and I'm trying to help as many as I can, but it would be easier to have a chat rolling in there. But I don't want a one post and then that post gets its own chat. I want it like Messenger where the chat just keeps rolling. And then I want a place to store all of our photos, all of our PDF files that I share, and have them organized so that y'all can look at them. So the lady that I contacted to help me, she is out of the country till the 22nd. So she is on her vacation right now. So she'll be back at the end of the month. And then she's going to work with me. She could get it done within like 7 days. So she's super familiar with the Wix program, and she can get all that done for me. But it'll be at the end of the month when we get that all updated. But for right now, just keep harassing me at Jen Brewer on Messenger for sure. All these old TikToks lives are published onto YouTube. My sister-in-law wants to get into film editing. She told me at Christmas, it's not something I really thought of her. She was going to be a coroner. Last I've heard, ever since the last 10 years, she wants to be a coroner. She's been taking classes and doing that, but now she wants to go into film editing, and it's just so happens that I need her to edit my films, like my 2-hour-long rants here on TikTok. If she could edit them to where if you only want to hear me talk about E&M questions, then those will be cut down into smaller bits and put under an E&M heading and stuff like that. So I may farm some of that out to the family as far as the video editing. But keep harassing me if you want to join, and we'll figure it out one way or another. Let's see. You think you're going to take that time? Take that route this time? So you still get 2 attempts, which I like, over a hemo where you only get to take 1 attempt, and then you got to buy each attempt. I do like this 2 attempt. But I bet it'll be the same thing, that if you take your first one in person, and then if you want to do your second attempt online, you just have to call AAPC and have them switch it for you, and then you could take your second one online. That's what I did. I bought the 2 attempts because I wanted the first attempt to just audit their exam by copying every single CPT code they used in the exam, and then every vocabulary word and every HitPicks and diagnosis codes. I wanted to audit which sections of the book that they picked, what kind of questions they asked, how they worded their questions, and then I wanted to study from that point on, and then do my second attempt online. That's how I did it, and that was great. So don't worry. It definitely says they're all multiple choice. Don't let any of the other websites, I think CCO was still saying that they were going to be fill in the blanks, and that's incorrect information. The only one that is going to be fill in the blanks is going to be CIC, and it's always had some fill in the blanks for the inpatient hospital stuff, so don't worry about that. And yeah, the prices are going up. I remember paying $2.99 for 2 attempts back in the day, so they've almost doubled since then. And it wasn't long ago, 2018, I guess it was. So, yeah, it's crazy prices. So just for the CPC exam, 3 online practice exams, just the study guide, and a review exam, will cost you $800, close to it, and then the books on top of it. So if you can find used books, that's great. You could use the 2021 books all year long for 2022 exams, and just get my little document that'll show you what new codes to put in there, and it'll show you which codes to delete, or which words, because some of the codes, they just deleted some of the words in the CPT codes. So it's not too horrible. We've got 4 new E&M codes, 4 or 6. We've got one deletion of some words in E&M. We've got some new anesthesia, but just a few. We deleted 2 and added 4. Or 6 in its place, one of the 2. And we pretty much skip a lot of integumentary and muscle, not a whole lot. It's not bad. There's just a few in each section. Like last year, from 20 to 2021, that was a big, all of E&M changed. Every minute, time, everything changed. It was ridiculous. Yes, in-person is still 2 attempts, absolutely. You have the option. I feel like you should get what you purchased, and I purchased this in November something, and it said I paid for 2 attempts before they offered it online, and I wonder if they will be transferred to online. Don't know. You can always ask. Never hurts to ask. You can always tell them you've had an issue come up and you absolutely can't make it that far to your chapter, whatever it may be. Hey, Shell. Hey, Robinson. Hey, Dirty Red. It's good to see y'all. Private tutoring one-on-one is on my medical coding by Jen website right there. You can schedule it there. It's $39 for, I do it on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I do the TikTok lives Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So the only day I don't do something is Sunday, but I'm always doing something for coding because that's usually when we're in the chat. Now, we were firing up chat last night, weren't we? Everybody that was in our chat group, we had a ton of anatomy questions last night. That was a whole lot of fun, and it's been continuing today. We do so much in that little chat group that is super fun. Where are we at? Oh, they're still going on. Look at them. They're talking away while I'm going live because I'm not doing anything. But we query all the time, and we've got a couple of people that have gotten all fired up about sharing some questions, and they're really helpful. I love all this. This is great. There's more questions in here now than I know what to do with. I like copying them and saving them and stuff. We had another pass, too. We got Andrea, who passed today with an 80. Yay, yay, yay. Shout out to Andrea. Very good. When I tried, I had a problem. We became friends on Facebook was the only way. Yeah, Shell, sometimes it is. There's like this, some people just have some sort of privacy settings or something that prevents them from being able to join a group, or I can't add them to a group unless we're friends. Some security settings are like that, for sure. Send Jen a screenshot of your profile picture too. Oh yeah, that might help me recognize you too. I have to look at those little bitty bubbles and see, who is that? Do they have a husband and wife? Okay, yeah, there's 4 of them in there. Okay. And I got to go look for that picture because some people have the same names but different bubble pictures. So then I have to query them down to the right bubble picture. My Facebook name is Melissa Shighton. I sent a message. Let's see. Let's see if I can add you while I'm sitting here reading your message. I remember a Melissa somewhere. I get pulled, and I have this Melissa Cichon. I just don't know, like, which one you might be. I'm assuming, hopefully, it's the office manager in Ohio. Are you an office manager in Ohio? Let me know before I hit add, because I don't want to add the wrong person. I did that before, and I was like, oh, no. Thank you, Lovable, for the rose. Yeah, it's expensive, but, you know, a career coding remotely from home is pretty much priceless. You know, if that's what your goal is, yeah, it could be worth it. Tax season is coming up, guys, so think about that. Every time I renew my membership and then I buy my books for next year, I do it when tax money comes in. So come February or March, whenever that shows up, I go straight into Aapc's website. I renew my membership and I go on and purchase my next year's books ahead of time. So I've already got 2022. So in March, I will go in there. There's an option to go buy 2023 books, and that's what I do with my tax returns every year. Thank God for kids, right? Red fits. If you paid for 2, then you should get 2, but hopefully you won't need them. That's right. My community college is a coding problem, and I have a scholarship. Would you suggest it? If you have the free time, Jenny. And don't put too much stress on yourself to learn coding. Get you an easy breezy C- out of the class and be happy with that. And learn your vocabulary as far as what coding is. What is HitPix? What does that mean? What is a CPT book? Why is it there? When does it update? Learn the basics. What do these words mean of what coding is? But don't worry about learning how to code a hypertensive cardiovascular disease person with stage 5 kidney disease who's here today for chemotherapy for their brain cancer. Don't worry about the tiny minute things like that. You will learn coding on the job. But if you have a grant and you have the time and you could not spend all the grant money and get some of the grant money back in cash, lovely, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. My community college will give people whose parents were veterans extra money too. So look into that. Even if your dad or mom was military but you're not, then they might have extra money for you too there. Go on and apply for their extra grant and other grants, every kind of grant you can find if you have free time. But don't stress. Don't stress over the added workload on you, and don't make it your main life focus. Take it and absorb as much as you can and let the rest go. Don't put more stress on yourself. But yeah, if you have the time, go for it if you want to. I've also done all my prereqs. I just enrolled in the University of Phoenix. Do you have to have a pass on the Aapc test? What do you have to pass? Oh, 70%. You can get 30 questions wrong. Do you like it so far? Yes, I love it, but it's a bit confusing on how to get the right code. Yeah, red fits. Don't worry about all that. It'll come with time. Like I said, please don't worry about the codes. Worry about your definitions. What are these parts, these books? What is, and knowing how the books are organized, like knowing that your ICD-10 book has multiple indexes, not only an alphabetical index, you have an index for all of your cancer codes. Then you have another index in there in the front that is for just external causes. There's 3 indexes in the front of it before you even get to a code. Then there's anatomy in there. Before you start coding a code, there's a lot of anatomy in there, which is a great reference for the book and for coding, because during our exam we are not allowed to take in a medical dictionary. So a lot of your words are in that. Learning about where things are in the book and what is on the pages. I just found out that one of those anatomy pictures in the ICD-10 book, and I've been in medicine for 20 years, but has a list of all of the hormones each organ produces in the body, every organ. And that's one of the dang Aapc questions they're always picking. There's 1-page list of all of them for every organ, no matter what. And you can flip to it, know where it is, and answer any question they throw at you about a body's hormone. It's amazing. 1 page is right there, and that will be great. No matter what question is, it's right there. So anyway, I'm just always finding out new stuff that are in the books that I didn't even realize was in there. That's more helpful than actual coding part, because when you get a job, you're going to have an EHR that does all the coding for you. You're going to have a doctor who's clicking diabetes, who's clicking, the renal diagnosis code. It's all going to come to you already coded. You just need to know how to look for coding irregularities. That modifier don't go with that one, or I need to add a modifier to that. Or why do they keep saying non-specific diabetes when they know this, but then they're coding them with CKD? Well, your diabetes isn't the same non-specific diabetes. They've got something else. You could code a better code to describe diabetes than the unspecified one if they're actually having a disease process due to it. Anyway, there's other things to look for besides all that busy work the classes give you. The classes will give you a million things to code and look up, and it'll be frustrating. Just Google it all and write it all down instead of working through the book looking for codes, because that's not going to be what you do in real life. The EHR is going to do it for you. And that is all just busy work to keep you busy and make you think that you paid for, you're getting what you paid for. But it just causes you stress, for sure. Okay, I hope. So 2, always freak out on the test. Yep. Lots of people overthink too much. You're scheduled for it on the 27th and you're freaking out. Oh, don't do that. No freaky. I'm going to show you some cool questions tonight. I want to be able to work as a coder remotely. Yep, that is the dream, isn't it? I've been remote since 2013. Gosh, almost 10 years now. Wow. It's a true blessing. It really is, except for the refrigerator is too close. You think COVID added 20 pounds. Well, working at home will add 22, so you got to be careful. And then now that they deliver all the groceries at home, you could just get on the Walmart app and have it all sent to your house, or Safeway, Kroger, whatever. You never have to leave, which is great, but then they can always bring, well, I want this, I want that, and then they'll bring it to the house, and you can, the refrigerator's too close. It's at work. You're sitting at your desk for 4 hours before you take your break, and you can't eat or go to the fridge every 4 hours, so there's a little bit of help there to stay away from it, but you're going to have to put a timer on your fridge. Good luck on the 29th. Do you think a passing score will improve? Do you think passing scores will improve with the 100 questions? I hope so, because the endurance of sitting there 5 hours and 40 minutes is almost 6 hours. Even a job can't force you to sit there that long without giving you a long break, 30 minutes. Federally, they can't. They have found that working that long without a break is actually detrimental to your health, and having you in a stressful situation taking an exam for almost 6 hours is very unhealthy, and it would take you several days to recover from just taking that exam when it was 150. Even the RN's nursing, to be a registered nurse, is only 75 questions. Why on earth does an administrator need 150 questions? It was just way overkill anyway, and illegal, I think. It just takes way too much out of you to sit there that long without a break. That's just unhealthy. You're not even supposed to sit down for that long. Humans were not made to sit. We were made to be walking. So, unhealthy exam. So, the last 40 questions, most people's minds and body are mush anyway, and they're just bubbling in the last 40, guessing at the answers because they've given up by the end or they've run out of time. So I guarantee they will have more passing grades. You can do 100 questions. You can do 100 questions. I would like it to be 80. I think 40 and 40 would be perfect, but we can't have perfect. Burnt. Where is that page with those hormones? I know, y'all. I'm telling you, that was great. I found that last night, and it's one of my pages that I actually drew and worked on, and I've looked at it a million times. Anyway, I'm in the 2022 book, and it's on page 15 in your ICD book, and this is every organ, and then it lists the hormones. It's the endocrine system, anatomy, and hormones. So this is great. I can't show you all of it because I can't get this underneath the thing, but the kidneys do all these hormones. The testes do all these. The stomach, the ovaries, uterus, thalamus, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the hypothalamus. It's just everything listed at once. And I know I've seen multiple questions on the CPC exam where they're going to ask you about the pancreas hormones, which was the insulin, glucagon, and the SOMAT, whatever this mess is, right there. There's 3, and I have only been telling y'all about insulin and glucagon because I forgot about that one. So one of their questions is, this is A, this is B, this is C, and then D is one other thing. So all you got to do is go to this page and figure out which one is listed that isn't on this page, and you're good to go. Love it. And I've looked at this page I don't know how many times. I even have things animated and drawed in and tons of stuff done on it, and good Lord, I'm just not even paying attention to what I'm looking at when I was updating stuff and then connecting it to the exam, because my mind is just hyper-focused sometimes on what I think I should be doing instead of looking at the greater picture sometimes. So it just takes multiple lookings at it and leaving it alone and then going back later and seeing it for what it really was the first time. Let's see, where did I find that before? It's not in this book, it's in the other one. Where did I find that before? It's not in this book, it's in the other one. That's that one. It's this one. Good God. I have 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22 ICD freaking books in here. That's ridiculous. Is it this one? Mm-hmm. Let me take this out of here. Look what I did to this darn page, y'all. I noted up that darn thing and didn't even pay attention to what I was noting all this crap on. That how helpful this page was. I was just busy writing, I don't know, the thalamus and what it does, the pituitary gland and what it does. I didn't really pay attention to that the hormones were listed there. Yeah, insane. I wrote all that mess on it and didn't even notice what I was writing on. And how helpful that would have been for you guys. But a lot of this I did do for the exam, and then I forgot it was all in there during the exam because you spend so much time in your CPT book anyway. You don't really go into the ICD-10 book, so it's hard to remember where all this stuff is during the middle of that exam. But, I mean, I updated this thing. Look. It's very small, concise, just listed the information down, and we could find a spot for that, I'm sure, in our books. But, yeah, super helpful information there. And in our books, but, yeah, super helpful information there. And I apparently knew it was there, but didn't really know it was there because I didn't pay attention. Can I add this girl or not? Did I find her? Let me see. I'm just trying to think of ways to exercise after work. Well, aren't we all? I see these girls that work from home, and their TikTok says that they have this like walking treadmill underneath their desk at work, and they're walking and treadmilling at the same time. I think I would kill myself. But that's an idea. Put one of those little treadmills things. My desk right here in my room is a standing desk. I like to stand while I'm working, and then I can lower it and sit too, because sometimes you just can't stand that long. But definitely having one that you can go up and down on would be great. Yeah. No, the test questions are going to be the same, in the same sections. I don't think it's going to be any harder than before. I think it's just going to be just as hard as it always has been. They're going to have propaganda in those questions like before. And I don't think the case studies are going to be anything that anybody has to worry about. They've been doing case studies forever. They've always had case studies. So this is the 2019 study guide. And you can go to any chapter, doesn't matter. And the last two questions in the study guide have always been case studies. And they're just easy. They're nothing big. That's part of one. And it goes to over here to finish, and then there's 10. It's not that big of a deal. What you need to pay attention to is your post-operative performed and your post-operative thing, and then if you need to look for with ultrasound or with guidance, you just look down here at the bottom of the descriptor. If there's a pump added or something like that, or if it's tunneled or untunneled, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be the same thing. It's just more wordy, and I like it when they're more wordy because I can always find the keywords easier. It's not that big of a deal. They've always had case studies. Always. You're just going to look for your post-operative diagnosis and the procedure. That's what you're going to be coding. And then look at your question. What CPT and ICD-10 was used for this service? So you just need to code these things. And it's going to be multiple choice. So you're still going to have two that are super close together, two that are throwaways. Just pick the two, and you need to either find the right diagnosis or the right CPT. You don't have to code everything, because in multiple choices, if you have the right CPT code, then it doesn't matter what the ICD-10 codes are, as long as you got the right procedure code, and none of the other answers have that same procedure code, then you're good to go. It's all right. I think it's going to be just fine, and I think it's going to make it much more manageable. She ran out of time and didn't answer any of the hit picks. Yeah. I'm so excited. It got reduced. Me too. 17th of this month. She's going to be one of the first ones. Nice, George. All right. You have a different book. It doesn't have that in it. Irene? I'll send you, you're part of our chat group, right? I think I shared that picture last night in our chat group. The one that was all marked up, I shared it. I can share a blank one too. You need me to? Oh gosh, I just remembered I gotta send somebody the ADA thing. So if anybody wants an extra hour to take their exam, 30 minutes each part when you take it online, or an hour in person extra time due to ADA, I have a copy of an email sent to AMA to get that letter back, and you can get to where you can even take bathroom breaks if you're online taking it too with the ADA. But I got the example of the thing, and I forgot to send that to somebody yesterday. I got to do that. But it's also posted in our chat room. If y'all need that, let me know. That was page 15, I believe. In the 2022 book, it's page 15. It's right after the ears. In anatomy, very front book. Yep. Thank you for the roses. Lovable auntie, she's so sweet, so nice. Thank you, thank you. Learn something new every day. You were late? Oh no, it's okay. Hopefully it's not frozen too long. Yeah, I'll post the repeat live if it records soon. You have the 360 book, the Optum ones, but it does not list the hormones. Okay. Let me show it one more time. And what you can do is do a screenshot on TikTok. So to do that, click into my live. Left click, you'll get rid of all the chat that is in the way. And it'll make it just a full screen of my live, and then you can do a screenshot from there. Sorry about my shaking though. But there's the full page for anybody that wants to take a picture of it. And then you can add it to your CPT book somewhere. We've got full body pictures somewhere, probably in the musculoskeleton. You've got the nerves listed and stuff or something. I gotta figure out where we can move this to, but we should move this because I've seen multiple questions, especially about the pancreas, prolactin. Yeah, all sounds very familiar. And some of it is very new. Vasopressin? What? I know about the oxy and the prolactin, but a vaso? Yeah, some of it's very neat. But yeah, I love that page. And AAPC does too, because they write anatomy questions on that one for sure. I got books on the floor. I got books up on all these shelves. I got books everywhere. What's the best notes to download off of Etsy for anatomy? Oh, I don't have just all anatomy. You making my mind go. That's another project I could add for sure. Best notes right now are in Tigmatary because you've got your AKAs, you've got tons of examples, you've got all the new notes for 2022 in there. Super cool. But those are all my notes are built towards coding. None of them are built towards anatomy. Let me make up something. Let me find something for you. Create something for you is what I'm thinking about doing, just anatomy. Now, I have an anatomy quiz that's 100 questions and going. I'm probably going to end up with probably 150 questions of just anatomy questions with the answers. I was doing it where I wanted you to do it and then send me your answers and then let me grade it. Nobody really wanted me to grade their work. They just wanted the answer sheet. So now I'm reformatting it, updating some of the anatomy to include what we've seen on the AAPC exam for the last 45 to 60 days. So some of those questions that we're getting with the Lagerhorn or the islets and pancreas and that nerve for the orgasms, just it's not my choice. These are ones that AAPC is putting in the actual AAPC exam for December. Those anatomy questions or words, I'm making questions for them and putting them on this 150 anatomy quiz that you could purchase and it'll be in my format where you have the answers, then the question, and then the answer right after it. But sectioned off so you won't see it right away. First, you'll look at the answers. I want everybody to get in the habit of doing that first. Do your process of elimination, which you still can do under anatomy, and I'll show you that tonight too. And then I want you to look at the question, and then I want you to figure out the answer. So I was working on that last night. So I'll have an anatomy quiz, but I could at the end attach my anatomy pictures that I've updated throughout all the sections of the book, and maybe that could be an added bonus for that particular thing, because that would be cool, right? Yeah. Add a little education with the quizzes so that you could go through your book and update your anatomy pictures, even if you didn't want to have page by page of what I've got in all the CPT sections, but you wanted just the anatomy and a quiz, and then you could update your parts. That would be cool. Okay. Good idea. Good suggestion. Maybe. Oh. Let me see. What else do I have here? Oh, you got Mom's pedal thing under your desk? That's good. Anything to keep the blood circulating, because we are not made to sit, and it is bad for your health. I know, ruin your concentration. I guess you'd eventually just tone that out. Like with anything new that you start, it would end up being second nature. I'm just worried about getting something wide enough for my stride. I don't want something too skinny, But then again, I want something that I can easily put my foot on the sides if I need to stop and answer a phone call, and I don't want them hearing that stupid machine going. So it would be something you need to look into purchasing, not just order something off of Amazon, maybe try some models out. But then again, I guess Amazon's easy to send things back to too, so I don't know. Yes, the cases will be multiple choice. Y'all are so good. I'm sorry about the screen freezing. Yeah, I think the case studies will be one of the easiest things too, but I'm weird like that. Well, for studying, what do I recommend you purchasing for studying? Well, what I recommend first is going to my website and just doing the 2 programs that I have there. The medicalcodingbyjen.com. I have 2 programs, and they're free, and it'll show you how to prep your book for the CPC exam. You need to fix your out-of-sequence exam. Some of your codes are out of sequence. You need to go in and put all the page numbers down where the codes are. Some of them are 700 pages away. They're very distracting, and you need to fix that. Is your first thing. You need to take parent codes that start out the same as other parent codes. Let me see. What have I got? What have I got right here? You've got 2 parent codes. There's no child. There's a transfer and a transfer. One's an abductor, and this is external oblique. So what you need to do here, which I did not do and I'm doing for this year, is to go through here and right underneath that CPT code, because both those codes start out the same exact thing, and they're both parent codes. They don't have a child indentation underneath them. These are 2 parents. You need to find the 1-word difference between those, and this is an ADD, and this is external. And go on and write that right next to the CPT code, so when you've done your process of elimination, if they do pick those 2 codes, you can go right away. You've already picked out your differences in those codes. So one of them is abductor, one of them is external. When you go to your CPC question after you look at your CPT codes, because you've only went to the answers first. We never read the question. Then you can just do a word search from the bottom of the question backwards till you find the word abductor, or you find the word external or oblique. I like that one too. Don't know which one it would be, but it would be one of those. Oblique or external. And one of those two words is going to be in that CPC exam. And you'll know exactly which one of the answers it's going to be. That's way helpful. Fixing that kind of stuff. And right here you've got, and I know that camera is far away, but you've got osteoectomy, osteoectomy, osteoectomy. 3 right in a row. They all say the same thing. Well, what's the difference? One's pelvis, one's femur, and one is includes fixation. So, includes fixation, femoral pelvis is what this will help you during your exam speed up figuring out which answer is correct. Instead of having to come to this code, then read each individual word and figure out what the difference is during your exam. If you go on and prep this book ahead of time, super easy. Femoral. And then this one is include fixation, and do separate colors for each one. And then this one is include fixation, and do separate colors for each one. Don't do it all in one color like I just did. Rainbows. Make rainbows. Whole lot better when you do different colors for each one. It'll stand out more instead of being just a purple blob. You're going to go through and circle everything in green when it says open. Anytime it says open, and you're going to circle in orange anytime anything says closed. And there are things like that even in anesthesia. So some of your CPT code descriptors, even here, will say open and close procedure, which I did not do my circles on, which would have helped in my notes too. Now my notes for 2022 for anesthesia, which are up, do have that particular feature drawn on there. That's super helpful because a lot of things are the same thing. Close, closed. Treatment, treatment. Greater T fracture, hip dislocation. That's the difference between those two, but they're both closed. Hip would be nice to have right there. Right here would be a T fracture. I would just put the T word, just the letter T, and put FX instead of spelling out that whole thing. Any little thing that you can do to minimize your research into these CPT codes during your exam and even get the descriptor even smaller is super helpful. But that's where I would start before you have to purchase anything for me. Fixing those out of sequences, putting the page numbers down, circling your closed, your open procedures, writing down the differences between the parents. We've got arthroscopy, arthroscopy. We've got M word and an S word. Sub and meta. Put meta right there and put sub right there. Don't worry about the child codes. They're small enough as it is. That's easy to decipher between them. The parents are what needs something done by. That's where I would start, and that would you would spend probably 40 hours just doing that to start with. And then reverse searches of your anatomy pictures in here and adding to them is super helpful too in learning your anatomy, but also in during your exam. If you go through here and take a picture of this and do a reverse search online for that same picture, find one that drew in the names of the body parts that's even better or has other things named in it that they didn't name, like distal ends of each bone, this bone right here at the top of your hip. There's a bone right here, an ACRO. It's the top of your shoulder. Those are all super helpful to add in to your anatomy. There is, where is that finger one? I added a ton of information for 2022 in it compared to what I did for 2021, but I still added some information there. That'll add another 15 to 20 hours there. But the prep thing is most important. I do it all for you, but you can do it too. I didn't do anything special other than fixing a lot of things that could be a lot better. Just reverse searches and then add to this stuff is super helpful. Moving things from one book to another, like in anesthesia, where you have all these modifiers they didn't add into this book. You need to move them from your HipPix book to that one. Oh, let me see. I did a much nicer job in my 2022 book for that. We have AAPC loves to ask a bunch of questions about the modifiers for anesthesia, but they put them in the HipPix book of all places. So you need to move those here and move them underneath those P's, and that will help out a whole bunch. Adding in things like the types of anesthesia that they don't describe really in the descriptors. Super helpful there. And instead of bubbling or boxing, I didn't really do that this year. That's not very helpful, and it's a lot of time consuming and ink consuming, and I don't see much value in it during your CPC exam, because all you're doing is searching for codes, right? You're just running from code to code. You're more focused on the code. And I did some bundling, kinda, and wrote the body parts down, but I'm not really fond of what all that time and trying to see what benefit that might have had for your exam. Could actually do it if you wanted to, but what we need more importantly is having examples down of how they code them. Make sure you know these are all bundled together, and that's an easier way to do it, is just doing a little bracket, I guess you call that. And then this is all for males. That's all I needed to know. I didn't need to circle the whole thing. And then I've identified or any kind of procedure that I might not know what that means or exactly what it was doing, or if the descriptor was not enough, like just saying this is a renal procedure, well, aka that means nephrology, or it's a kidney. Those kind of things are super important to add. See, my finger from last year to this year ended up with more data. I did more of a bracket thing instead of boxing. I did integumentary before I did anesthesia, but identifying of a bracket thing instead of boxing. I did integumentary before I did anesthesia, but identifying words that I don't understand or might not be a vocabulary term that most people know, adding that information is much more helpful. And then keeping a little bit of stuff underneath each parent code to let me know what's going on here without having to look up through the code during the exam is a lot more helpful. And knowing which codes not to use modifiers on and what modifiers to not use on. It's everything with that times thing written on it, and those are the times so that you know not to add those modifiers. Or just don't do that. Do not add those multipliers on the ones that you can do times on. That kind of stuff is super helpful. This is like fine needle aspirations without any guide, no guide at all. Then the guide here is ultrasound, the guide here is fluoroscope, the guide here is CT, and the guide here is MRI. So they're all bundled and boxed a little bit, but just with the brackets. And then the brackets say exactly what's going on in each one. And then we added in more examples for sure. But prepping the book is super helpful. Getting one section, like maybe that Indignitary for 2022, would be helpful so that you can download that, see what I did in this chapter, and you can recopy it over into the other sections and do it yourself. You can see what I added and what I did to each code, and then add it, repeat the process in the other sections if you want a guide on how to do some stuff. But that's where I would get started. If you want a guide on how to do some stuff. But that's where I would get started. Guide on how to do some stuff. But that's where I would get started. Irene. Yeah, you don't have to have Facebook, I don't think, to have Messenger, but that may be, you want the ADA too? Okay. You should see what if I could find real quick. Woo. Our ADA thing. I've shared that in chat. Let's see, where is my pictures? I was just looking at that the other day too. I was like, oh, that's important. And see, if it was all on my website in one place that you could see it, that would be great. I've started adding some pictures in it, but I can't, nobody can see them. So I'm like, what setting do I have wrong? So I've got something wrong in there. I got to make it to where it's open. If I can figure out what I've got going on, that's why I was hiring that person to help me. Because I just don't have time to sit there and figure out which setting it is at this particular second. But I will eventually get that figured out. That's why hiring somebody at the end of the month to fix that site. Then I can just say it's under this folder on that website. Then you can just go there and find it all by yourself without having to look at my shaky screens all the time. Whoop, not there. Let me see. Whoops. Christmas pictures. Look at my James. My little James. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get so distracted. He looks the same as he did when a baby, and he always has his mouth open, still to this day. Ridiculous kid. Okay, focus. Never closes his mouth. He is going to end up, I don't know, swallowing some flies for sure. One of these days. Okay, not that folder, not that folder. Oh my gosh. I probably have to go find it on, it's not going to be that folder either. Where's code 2? Code 2. And Travis is doing good. Been back to school 2 days. He's so happy, happy, joy, joy. I had to send this ADA to somebody else too that I did tutoring on Tuesday. I think I'm doing tutoring on her tomorrow too. Lots of people doing 2 days a week because they really want to pass this time for sure. Okay, not seeing it there. I know it's in our... Melissa, did I ever get a message from you to say if that was you or not? Because I don't know if it was you or not. I found a Melissa with your name, but I don't have a profile pic to know whether it was you or not. Our snow has been so beautiful. Yes, baby. What's up? You need what?
Earphones or some headphones.
Why? You've got two sets of earbuds. You don't need headphones.
school, you know, because
Yeah.
I don't know how to connect mine, and they won't let you use those. They have to. They want us to use like.
Aww. Oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm being really stupid. Why don't I just search a conversation for ADA? Oh, Lord. Which you can do inside of our chat room is search for the ADA forms. Should be here somewhere.
Did you get Chipotle?
Yes.
Did you bring me something?
Yes.
Oh, can I have it?
No. Did Grandma come in yet?
Yeah, we said hi to her.
How's she doing?
Good.
Okay, guys, I just cannot lay my hands on it. Am I not? And I'm wasting so much time.
Can I have my Chipotle?
When I get done, if you're good, you send your forms to ADA. I just saw that in that email. At 8. Nope, it's right before here. I know I did, because we were talking about the scholarship. Right there, you're going to send your email to ada@aapc.com. But where's the copy of the letter? I have a copy of what somebody sent and a copy of what they got back, because that was super helpful to actually see what they just typed it up in Word and sent it to them. Ugh. Oh yeah, I want one of those still too. Okay. Spending too much time. I can't find it. I'll find it. I will. I know I just saw it yesterday, but I have a ton of questions I want y'all to see. But again, to let y'all know, Aapc Cpc exam is most definitely only 100 questions. They're all multiple choice. You can still buy 2 in-person exams. It's going to cost you $400, $450 though if you want 2 attempts. But you have to switch the option to in-person to be able to buy that. That's why I was here on this site. Let me go to my questions right here. Don't be looking at the answers. Let's get down. All right. Here's one of my questions from today's exam that I took for Aapc. And it states, if a provider states that a documentation that medication was reviewed and reconciled and they were managing the patient's medication, what risk level is this? I thought it was a great question. And it's a new way of looking at something that AAPC hasn't asked before. So I like it. I got to get through a chat. Does anyone have a practice exam with answers in PDF? Can you repeat how to get rid of chat when taking a screenshot? Yes. You click into the live, swipe left across your screen. It'll remove the chat magically. It really does work. And then you can do your screenshot. Vasopressin was on the AAPC exam. That is good to know. Thank you for letting me know. I'll add that to my 100-word question, 150-word anatomy question thing. Swipe the chat. Yep. Very good. Page 15, 2022. Can you put it up once more, please? Yes, I can. In case nobody else got it. So we can... Okay, everybody go back into, sorry about the shadows. I'll try to move my hand out of the way. Yeah, swipe around on that screen and it'll get rid of chat. Sorry about my shaking. I don't have it on a crane right now, so hopefully that helps. Etsy with images marked up. Be the first to purchase. Awesome. Thank you, lovable auntie. I will work on something. What's your course called and where can I find it? It's at Medical Coding by Jen, and I only have 2 programs up that will show you how to prep your CPT book and get it ready for the CPC exam. I don't have a course yet other than these 2-hour-long TikTokies that I do, and those are posted on YouTube. If YouTube or TikTok recorded them and saved them for me, I repost them on YouTube and have them there free for you. Somebody I'm tutoring listens to them on their way to work every morning. I'm like, oh God, I'm playing in the car. You're listening to me on the way to work. Poor thing. But got hundreds of hours on YouTube at Coding by Jen. Let me go back to the screenshots. Go right there. So Medical Coding by Jen has those programs. They're free. They're just click into and view the photo and then read the description that's underneath the photo, and it'll tell you what to do and show you a picture of the CPT book and what to do with it. Repeat lives are on YouTube. You can also schedule tutoring there. TikTok, you know what I do here on TikTok. Messenger group is super fun. And then the Etsy page, Medical Coding by Jen, has everything there. You can even turn your 2021 book into a 2022 book with one little document that I got there too. But our chat room is lovely. They're in there chatting away and sharing questions every day. Practice exam questions. Love it, love it. And when somebody does take their CPC exam, they come in here and tell us what vocabulary words we're on and that kind of stuff. And we share everything there first before we end up putting it on TikTok. But I love this question about if you just get their medication reviewed and reconciled, what level are you already at? What do y'all think? Is it low or moderate? But I have those sections up for 2022. As far as combining everything and adding it into one PDF, Etsy has limitations. It won't let me post anything higher than 25 megabytes. And some of those sections I have to switch up and put as 5 downloads themselves because I do everything in color for you. And there's no way I could post a whole entire book at one time. Now, on my website, when I figure it out, how to post PDFs on there, maybe I can get a combination where everything's all on one and get a download of one whole thing. I'm not sure if I'll ever have a limitations on what I can upload on that thing yet, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out so that I can get all of it at one place. But for right now, I do have to do separate sections of the CPT book, but they're there as I'm doing them. Low is lovables. B is coupon cutie. You're welcome, Irene. And there's a chart on page 16 and 7 that will help also. Probably is. My husband has always asked what I'm listening to, and now he's like, is that Jen? Aw. He's probably just a little bit jealous, poor thing. You know, you get focused and you're trying to make a new career too, so it's hard to juggle it all. I know. Low says MASH. Moderate says Marissa. Low says MASH. Moderate says Marissa. Low says Shell. Hey Lily, how's it going? We've got a new Aapc Cpc quiz question that I did today from them, working on my CEUs, and I thought it was a great question because everybody has trouble with E&M. And where do you even start for picking out if you don't have MDM listed for you and you don't have time listed? All you have is a medication reconciliation. Well, now you know. Here's one. Why do I have a thingy there? There we go. Here's one, and let's see. It says, if a note states radiology images are reviewed today with the patient, which E&M MDM complexity category is this considered? I just love these questions, don't y'all? These are really good. Are we a category 1? We reviewed the results of each unique test. Or category 2, independent interpretation of the test. Or category 3, discussion of management or a test interpretation. Or D, none of the above. What do y'all think here? I'm sorry about freezing. The answer for the first one was B. So in case I'm not freezing, the answer to this one was B. So if they just reconcile meds, you're already at moderate. You did good, Marissa. You got the answer right. Lily too. All right. So for this one, I don't want y'all seeing the answer just in case I got it down here. If they just review radiology images were reviewed today with the patient, what complexity are we at? Category 1, reviewed the results of each unique test, or category 2, independent interpretation of test. 3, discussion of management or test interpretation. Or D. What are we at? I've got a C, I think, from Shawnee. Marissa says C too. Lily says C. Lovable says C. All right, guys. The answer is A. Review of results of each unique test. That's what Aapc wanted today. So I knew these questions were going to be good to review. Just because it's Aapc, Shell says D. That's usually a very good answer to pick. None of the above or all of the above. I've told y'all that before, but they've switched it up on me. That's why this being one of their new test quizzes for us CPCers to keep our certification, and it was January's test, I was like, I wonder if this is good for the CPC exam that they're fixing to come up with, because this is from their January magazine that they just published, and then they have questions. So I'm like, ooh, we just have to figure out how they want the answers. And what I remembered, and I did pick A on this one, was unique test. That wording flared up in my head, and I think it's because of their chart they have in this book. If we go to that E&M lovely crappy chart that nobody can figure out what the heck it means with those categories, I think I remember something saying unique test. That's what I went off of. So category 1, unique test or something. I thought I remembered seeing something about reviewed notes, unique test. It was there. Just because I remembered that wording. That wording was, it's just unusual to use the word unique, and the way it's written is a funny looking word to me, and that's why I remembered that word. Other than that, I would not have gotten that answer right. I'm sure I wouldn't have. But just because again, word matched what was on this lovely chart with what was one of their questions. So if you are doing this questions like this, when they're asking you, what is med reconciliation? What is a lab result? Keep doing your word searches. Don't forget what I've taught you. That's super helpful. And in fact, we should all probably highlight that key term. Unique test would be a good thing to have highlighted as a AKA, something to word search for. What was our med reconciliation? Did we have any unique words there? Just med reconciliation was going to be a low level. Where are low levels? Right here. So low, we could write in here. No, it was not low, it was moderate. So we can write in right here, med rec equals moderate. And then we could do, and see, this is category 1. We've got the unique test for our word match. Category 2 is independent historian something or another. So you got to have somebody. Category 2 is independent historian something or another. So you got to have somebody else in the room that needs to talk for the patient to give you information to be category 2. Category 3 is discussion management and test interpretations with external physicians. So category 3 means you've had like a team of doctors talking, and it would be that your primary care physician called your oncologist to talk to them, and then that means category 3. Category 2 again was an independent interpretation, another doctor again, or you end up having an independent historian talking to you about the patient. But category 1 could be any of these. The review of prior external notes, the unique test, ordering a unique test, or an assessment with an independent historian. Anyway, I just love the new questions. I find them interesting. Okay, good. There we go. So our answer is A on that one. I hope y'all find this is helpful. No ugh, no ugh. E&M is a pain in the butt. Yep, it is. It really is. But with these new questions, we're going to learn more. You know, I didn't know that med reconciliation only already put you at moderate. That's so helpful. That's like rocking information. I love it. I don't care to get it wrong as long as I understand the reasoning why and can fix it in my brain. This one I only knew because of that word unique. That word is not used very much by people in the world, especially written down in textbooks or things. It's just a neat word anyway. I just happened to remember that. All right. Good. I'm glad you thought. Okay, so Here's another one, and I didn't separate the answers of the questions for these because I just didn't. This is a diagnosis one right here. Because I was like doing this 2 minutes before the CPC or before I went live, so I didn't have time to format them correctly, but they're diagnosis ones, and I really wanted to go over diagnoses tonight anyway, too. So I've been seeing some lower exam scores in December for diagnoses, so it's time for a review. And I already had prepped some questions for today for diagnoses, but these were extra and new that I hadn't seen before, and they're always in subject matters like CKD and pneumonia or something like that has it's always perplexed everybody, so I grabbed them quickly. And I know we're not supposed to be reading the questions, but if we did the process of elimination on this one, let me get out my Drawly tool. Pick out a color. All right. You know I'm going to like and get rid of the Z, right? And then we just need to decide whether it's these two, but because of the process of elimination, I'm going to assume it's going to be one of these two because they have the Z and this one doesn't. So I just need to look up these two diagnoses and see what the difference is between those. One of them stage 4 and one of them's probably stage 5, right? And we already have different opinions on the answers. So what is it if the patient has CKD receiving dialysis? You got to make sure that you have the info, not only your diagnosis, but what might happen before or after the words, because they're getting to where they're hiding some information later on or before they actually tell you your word search. That might be the deciding factor. My other example is when they're saying that a patient being seen by their primary care physician is being referred for a second opinion for their cardiac issue. It's atrial fib. For a second opinion due to their atrial fib per their insurance company's requirements. That last 3 words changes you from giving that physician a consult code into a new patient office visit. So they're getting a little funny with these things. So the receiving dialysis is your key part that would tell you that B is your answer on this one. Yep. I'm sorry, Kay. I'm so sorry. My last live from Monday is posted on YouTube. I don't know if there's any frozen parts in it. I hope not. I know it's just as frustrating for you as it is for me. I'm sorry. Got 18 of you in here today. That's fun. All right, here's our next one that I had today. Which of the following conditions causes chronic cough? And Shell, you know the answer to this one. Just look at your answers. Which one is it? I know you know this one. What did you say, Shell? What have I taught you about AAPC? Most of the time they like what? Shawnee picked it up. Yes, yes, yes. There you go, Shell. D is your answer. Absolutely. All of the above. Allergies can cause you to have chronic cough. Reflux can too. Alcoholism can too. It's crazy because alcoholism gives you GERD, reflux, and of course COPD does too. Makes you have a chronic cough. Taking hypertensives, high blood pressure meds can give you a cough too. So what do they call those? ACE inhibitors? So that's one more thing that can always add a cough to a patient. So all of the above. AAPC loves that one for sure. This one I got wrong twice. I'm like, what? What? So I threw it in here. What are the main parts of an operative report? You'd think you'd know right away what the main parts of an op note is. I mean, we read them every day. What's your guess on that? Is it beginning, middle, and end, header and footer, header, body, and footer, or pre-op, post-op diagnosis in the body? Am I just the only idiot? I don't know why I got this one wrong twice, but no, y'all picked the same answer I did the first time. D is not your right answer. So now what do you think? I'm like, has AAPC lost their minds? Because I don't know. D is not one of your answers. See, we didn't do the process of elimination, guys. Remember? Look at the first words. We should have gotten rid of A, and we should have gotten rid of D because they start out differently. The only two that are the same are this header and footer crap. Yeah, so C is our answer. We didn't do our process of elimination, and I didn't either. And I'm like, what? When I got D wrong, because I immediately thought it was the diagnoses in the body. They ain't got to put no pre-op or post-op diagnosis on it at all. This is an operation note, if you think about it logically instead of reactively. And a lot of these questions, you don't need to react to the question. You need to think of them logically. If I'm sitting there thinking about the operation note, they only need to tell me about their operation. And I guess it's a header because they need the patient's name, date of birth, chart number, all that stuff there. They need a body, and then they need a closure, like the doctor's signature, which is the footer. So, yeah, don't react to the questions. Think of them logically. We all reacted to that question. Oop, what are you fussing about, computer? Let me see why. It's fussing. Stop fussing. Stop it. No beeping at me. Yeah. Dude, stop it. Hold on. Why it's beeping at me? Let me put something soft underneath it and see if it gets happy that way. Okay. Oh no. You know, I had this last night where it was like frozen. And this thing is brand new. I got it like, a month ago. But I'm already killing it. And, if anybody can kill a laptop, I can. Yeah, it's not responding. Hold on. Let's try this, sucker. Come on. Come on. Talk to me. Don't you lose my document. Don't you do it. I don't have it saved. Holy crap. Yeah, the answer was C, header, body, and footer. Oh my goodness. Come on, Lappy Top. Don't do this to me. What are you fussing about? Let me close it like I did last night, and then we'll come back to it. Oh, Lord. These questions are so cool. Well, I don't know if they're cool, but they give me more insight into what AAPC is thinking and what answers they want us to know ahead of time. And since these are January 1 questions, I'm hoping that that will be a whole lot easier for everybody. See, like, I know how to kill a laptop. Let me look at all those Word documents I got open at one time, and you don't even want to know how many websites I have open. I mean, yeah. You want to know signs of somebody with ADHD. Look at all the, oh, am I frozen? Just all the tabs I have open. And that's only on one internet page. I've got two or three. I got three of them open. 3 internet sections open with all the Word documents. And then you don't even want to know how many PDFs I have open, which are right there. So, yeah, sorry. I am like insane on laptops. Okay. What are the steps of the process of elimination? All right, Irene. So, process of elimination. Let me get back to here and undo this. Let me erase this. Process of elimination is you are supposed to objectively, right away, just go straight to the answers without reading a question, and you are to get rid of 2 answers if you can, right away, based off nothing more than the first words or the first CPT code or the first diagnosis code, because Aapc has a habit of giving you 2 throwaways, like this question with the answer A, the beginning, and D is the pre and post. The only ones that are 2 together that start out with the same word is the B and C. We should have done the process of elimination. If we had done it, we would have had a much better choice option of figuring out what an potty parts for the op note is. Once we got it down to 2, that's when we look at our question in reverse order. We don't start at the beginning. We're supposed to go at the end, and I would have known parts of an op note. That's all I needed to know. And then I would have definitely picked header, body, footer, because I wouldn't have just picked out header and footer. That's just, yeah, we would definitely need a body. If I had done the process of elimination correctly, I would have not missed this one twice. I reacted to this question. And I instinctively picked something that said diagnosis and body, and that's just an emotional response to that question for sure. I should have done my process of elimination. So that's what we do, and that's what I teach, and then I didn't even follow it. So, yep. Here is our next one. It's so hard. The hardest part is staying in the correct frame of mind during these questions, not get emotional, not get to be like a coder, not react to the questions, keep it 100%. I gotta put this down. Methodical. You gotta approach it like a robot. You can't approach it like a human being and react to those questions. You gotta stick to the plan, which is process of elimination. Go straight to your answers first and eliminate answers that are not like the other answers if you can. Figure out what you know about the answers. What would go.
Press and hold both volume.
Which answers would go together or not go together right. Look for coding irregularities before you even attempt to read the question. So for this one, we know right away we're doing a new patient because all of the answers have a 0. And we know we've got a straightforward and low, moderate, and then high, right? Complexities. So what I would do is start with knowing that, then go to the question and go from the back up. And I know we're doing a UTI, right? The diagnosis of a UTI. Is that a straightforward, low, moderate, or high? What do you think a UTI is? And I ran into this question with Janet, I believe. Weren't we doing I don't know if she is on the live. She's in New York City, so it's pretty late there. She did a pre-employment coding exam to try to get a job. And this was actually one of her questions, and it was just reading a doctor's note that was handwritten, old-timey style, which is not something anybody does anymore. They don't handwrite paper charts anymore, but it was her employment exam. And that was the only thing. We had a patient presented. We didn't have an age. They came in for frequently urinating and were diagnosed with a UTI, and she had to decide how she would bill for that. There's every possibility, Ginger, that they could be. They're on my exam for January 2022 to get a CEU through AAPC. So I took this exam today, and it is a 2022 one. But it's not a CPC exam to become a CPC. It is an exam to keep your license, and you need to continue your education, and you need to collect enough credits every year to keep your certification. So the fun isn't over with once you pass. But I thought, we have no clue what's coming up on the 2022 exam. So these questions intrigued me, and I thought they were wonderful questions to give us not only insight into E&M, but it would also give us insight into what their questions, if they had changed any in any dramatic way, we would see it on this thing. And they're the same. They're the same as before. These are typical AAPC questions. Yes, Teresa sent me, yes, today that I missed an ACD9. Can we look at those? Oh, yeah, she did ask me. Maybe that's why it lags, Jen. Multiple apps. my cell phone, this phone, I have nothing on it but TikTok. And it doesn't even have, like, it's not used every day. This is a throwaway phone. It's a very good phone. It's a nice phone. It's a Note 9. It's a super cool phone, but nobody uses it for cell phone service, and it is not my daily phone. This is my only project live on TikTok phone. The one thing it doesn't have is cell phone service on it anymore. I use my Wi-Fi for it. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi connection. Don't know. I could use my regular cell phone, but you know how many tabs I probably have open on this thing all at one time. But it has cell phone service, so maybe your assumption is correct. Maybe I should add service back to this phone and then have it along with this Wi-Fi. I just don't have this one hooked up to a line. So, and I definitely don't play on it all day long. It just stays charging so that it's ready for the next tutoring session or the next live. I don't do anything else with it. Let's see. What else? Not this coming up on my FYI page, and I'm in school for coding. Yay! That's what it's supposed to do. Hey, Sarah, how's it going? You have come to the TikTok coding queen right here. If you search CPC or even CPT code or anything medical coding related, I'm all over the search for that. So hopefully I can help you. I specialize in helping you pass the exam, which is totally different from a coding course. Totally different. Nothing prepares you for that exam. There isn't anybody online doing anything. I've been through all the online programs, courses, and totally different. Nothing prepares you for that exam. There isn't anybody online doing anything. I've been through all the online programs, courses, and totally different. Nothing prepares you for that exam. There isn't anybody online doing anything. I've been through all the online programs, courses, and stuff. Nothing helps you prepare for that exam. Auditing, but I hate coding. It's too subjective. You know, what I see as a medication review and reconciliation, what if they're only on HTC? You know, they're just on a tiny little water pill for their blood pressure. You're going to give them a moderate for that? According to AAPC, you are. But the coding guidelines say that you have discretion as a coder. I would bill that as a low. I wouldn't give the doctor credit for doing something moderately difficult for his hydrochlorothiazide for his patient, and he sees him again in 3 months. That's all he did was say hello, keep taking your water pill, your blood pressure's great. Oh, I wouldn't do that, but that's a whole nother thing. AAPC wants it to be moderate, we'll make it moderate, all right? So that's what we're here to do. Thank you, Coupon. You are so charitable. So nice. Thank you. This one, we're finally, UTI is not straightforward, apparently. It is not a, it is a low complexity, though. So, not too far off. But UTI is an 03. And I love this. I want to give this question to Janet and the other two because that will help her. She's working really hard to try to find a coding job and these coding exams. And you know, even though AAPC says this is a 3, and I think that's what she picked on her coding exam from an employer, but I think the employer picked 02. So there's a whole nother thing to learn when you get out there in the real world. But let me tell you, if you learn how to do HEDIS measure audits, which are super easy because they're black and white, they tell you what code you need to go with what diagnosis, then you could get a job as a HEDIS abstractor, coder, auditor, whatever. With your CPC, man, you can write your own ticket for sure. Plus, we have ICD 11 coming out soon. The World Health Organization just adopted it this year, and ICD-10 is over a decade old. It's time to change it. So they're going to be gathering information and sharing World Health information based off new set of data codes. Our ICD-10 codes are going to be going from 7 digits long to over 15 to 30 code digits long. And no one's going to want to learn that. If you learn it ahead of time, before it comes out, you can triple your income. I doubled mine when 09 came out. Well, when 09 went away and 010 came out, I doubled my income because I learned it ahead of time. You can do the same. Anyway, there's easy ways to grow in this field, and I can help you out with that too, but we got to get you to pass the exam first. So UTI is 03, and you can go to your CPT code set, go to 03 or 9213 and put UTI underneath it as a little note so that you'll know for the exam. Let me get my drawing tool. I drew all over this thing for some reason. And I haven't even gone over this question, but I got it there. I got another urinary tract one, but written in a different way. All right. So we've got the answers minimal, low, moderate, and high. What level of MDM is our question? So we're just going to look through here. We've got diabetes, and we've got a UTI. What happens when you have diabetes and UTI? What do they want? Do they want us to be minimal, low, moderate, or high? What you think? Did I lose everybody by chatting too much? There we go. Y'all are picking up on their routine here now, because if a UTI up here is not straightforward but low, then if you add diabetes, are we going to get moderate or high? What are we going to go? Where are we going to go? Now, if we do the process of elimination, guys, which we can, what 2 would you get rid of? We should have done in the first place. Which 2 do you get rid of? This will help you out. Don't forget to get rid of anything that looks different. We keep the 2 that start with M. Yep. We get rid of the 2 that do not start with M. We have that similarity is the only thing we have. That'll help you during your exam. Then it cuts you down to where you have a 50-50 shot. So are we minimal when we add diabetes to a UTI, or are we moderate? Yep. Am I blowing your mind, Dirty Red? We make it too difficult on ourselves when we don't do the process of elimination. We really do. It is 100% more effective and helpful than anything else I've ever seen. And I don't see anybody else teaching it at all. And it's a shame because this makes the whole difference in the world. It takes away crappy things that need to be out of your way that are there to confuse you anyway, and breaks it down to a much more reasonable question for sure. All right here, what have we got going on here? Well, I don't really have anything that's matching, right? Medication, evaluation, checking surgical, first physical therapy. I got 2 S's at the end. Sutures and adjustments are 2 S's, but really if I can't spot anything that's going to be process of elimination, I'm not going to sit there and start evaluating every letter and everything. I do see one that is super longer than the other ones. These are shorter. I don't know. I'm just not going to pay that much attention and worry about finding anything to get rid of. I don't know. But right here, we're going to go into our question, and the first word is 7th character. So, initial encounter, which one of these would be initial encounter? Well, medication adjustment, that's not initial, right? Checking surgical wounds, that's not. First physical therapy or evaluating and coordinating fracture surgery. First physical therapy is like a referral to somebody, so they've been seen by somebody else, but then they get a referral to go here. Maybe, but I really like more so than anything the fracture thing. And you know fractures have 7th characters. If you've done anything in the diagnosing area around there, physical therapy is under CPT, so you wouldn't be using any of the 7th characters anyway to be doing a physical therapy evaluation. The only thing that would be ICD-10 would be, yeah, your fracture, and that would have a 7th character. Would definitely be 7th. Yeah, that one wasn't too bad. I just like the wording on it because it's a wording that I haven't seen, them asking which one of these supports the 7th character. Very interesting writing on a question. Even their practice exams you buy, I don't remember seeing anything asking that question. It wasn't a difficult question. It was just one that I haven't seen written that way before. So that's why I liked it. Yeah. They use the S codes. Yep, pregnancy uses them. Eyes use the 7th character too. So, yeah. Wasn't a difficult question. It was just weird. The next one is just like it too. So which one of these supports a 7th character? And they're asking subsequent 7th character, not initial. So when you see these questions, Make sure you understand whether it's going to be initial or subsequent. So anything that says first time, I'd be like, nah. I'd probably get rid of that just based off that word first time, right? Also, you've got two that start with A. Don't know if that's a reason to pick one or another, but also A and C have X-ray in it, and you know we're always having some seventh characters with that kind of stuff. So, and this is second, but it's a second opinion. When does an opinion have a seventh character? No, I don't think so. So, what do y'all think? Yeah, y'all are all saying C too? Yeah. Wasn't too hard. Don't get flustered with these. And if you have to take them one by one to eliminate them, then do that. That's fine. You're going to have questions that you speed through really quickly. You'll bank time for the ones that you might need to slow down and just go one by one to eliminate, and that's fine. All right. Those are all of my new 2022 questions that I got today. But I have more that I prepped for today, if I can get to it. I just lost it. all my notes open. Where are we at? We're right here. I'm just trying to move this one with some enter buttons, and it keeps going way up high for some reason. We've already done all these. I just want to move. Oh yeah, that's because I'm under draw and I need to have this. And then I need to hit enter, enter, enter. Move those down just a hair. And then we can go back to the drawing tools. Okay. These are all set up properly where I don't have to put my hand up there, because I have these answers first and then questions. So we've been doing a ton of these anatomy ones. Yeah, it is a different way to think, and the different way that they kind of wrote the questions, the different way they asked questions. Yeah, we know about seventh characters. Now, how can you write a question that might be unique instead of asking you flat out, here's a subsequent fracture of the left femur, go diagnose, code that? Well, now they want you to recognize what kind of scenario might give you that seventh character. So, very neat way of asking the question. I liked it. Dyslexic. I'm dyslexic too, and ADHD. I get all hyperflexed about all kinds of stuff. I'm going from one thing to another, and oh gosh. And back in the 70s, when the school did a test on me, they were like, oh, she's smart as a whip. I don't know why she can't do nothing in class. They had no clue what to do with me at all. Put me in a classroom, I couldn't pass nothing, because I was filled with a room full of people and things to look at and audit, and I was just constantly trying to keep up with the room and know what everybody was doing and just audit the entire room. But my parents actually did send me for testing when I was, and had me repeat first grade twice. But when they take me out of that situation and do an individual test with me, I'm like smarter than the average bear. But you put me in a room full of distractions and things to audit, I'm going to audit. They didn't even know what to classify me and had no idea. They just called me a daydreamer. I wasn't daydreaming. I was working hard with 15,000 pages open with half-written stuff on it. I was very productive, but never finished anything. In their timely fashion, anyway. But they didn't have no idea what to call me in the 70s. But that's all right. Yeah, anxiety, and I can see that on people's test scores when they get their individual scores back when they're taking their exams. You'll see anesthesia right off the bat, terrible score. Integumentary, a little bit better. Musculoskeletal, rocked it, 90%, 80%. But then that exam, and then the middle of the exam, they're rocking it, And then at the end of the exam, when they're doing radiology, hit picks, and diagnosis codes, they've done so much, 5 hours worth of crap, they fall off again because their brain's mush and they can't do any more, they can't think anymore, and then their grades go way down on those sections. And a lot of it, you start off with the anxiety, can't answer any questions. You do really great in the middle, and then you crap at the end. So I'm super excited that the exam is going to be 50 questions less. We won't have that crap at the end. You're not going to be mush. But the starting anxiety, if you have anxiety for taking an exam, then flip through that exam, whether you're online or in person, and flip through every question. Don't answer anything until you find one that you know 100%. I know that question. Jen's taught me that question. I know that question. The answer is blah. And answer it confidently because you know that question. I don't care if you have to go through all of it and get to question 99 and it's one hit pick that you know or one vocabulary that you know. Just go through it until you find some questions that you know the answer for and do those first. Get those jitters out of the way and then go back and flip back to the first questions. I think that will be the best thing because once you get in your groove and you start relaxing through the anxiety and answering questions, y'all do really good through the musculoskeletal and other things. I mean, even cardiology is up there, and y'all are midway through your exams. But that helps me when I go to the answers first, eliminate, and then don't read the questions. Because if I read the questions, I read them wrong. With the dyslexia, I can read them wrong. So word searches does much better for me anyway. Because I comprehend differently. The way somebody with the dyslexia, I can read them wrong. So word searches does much better for me anyway. Because I comprehend differently. The way somebody writes a sentence. Now I'm praying when you fighting with the computer. Poor thing. It's only a month old and I'm killing it already. Yeah, ADHD and OCD is the worst. It really is. The ADHD is just, it's crazy. And, I never even knew, or classified or knew I had it, but oh my gosh, do I have it? I know I do. Now they come out with more reasons to have it. Not reasons, but the actual clinical, what do you call that? Traits. Yes, traits. The traits are listed. Back in the 70s, it was like, oh, they're just special, and you didn't want to be one of those kids, and it was taboo, and it was, whatever. Everybody avoided it, the situation. It was crazy. Insane. Throw you in a classroom of 40 people and Highwoods in the mist with dirty red. Oh, sorry. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Well, if you do get diagnosed with it, try the medications. Just try it out and see how it feels, because sometimes it just really makes the difference. Don't be afraid of it helping you out at all. All right, let's go on. Let's look at these answers. Do we have anything here that might be all the same? So for process of elimination, I love it because we've got 2 with inflammation, and you know that lacrimal right away you could probably get rid of. We do have this one with inner, but temporarily I'd get rid of that one too. I'd keep the 2 inflammations, right? What's our question? Our question is, what is this? So now that we've got it divided down to just the 2, you can tell what your answer is going to be by knowing a little bit of prefixes. Yep. Super easy. That one's C. Love it, love it. All right. Process of elimination on this one. So I'd keep the two P's, right? Get rid of the M, get rid of the S, and this is actual questions from Aapc. I haven't changed anything. So we keep the two P's. Makes it way much more. I'm so adjective bad right there. It is more manageable there for sure. Start at the back of the question, fallopian tubes. I know where I'm at now. Which one are fallopian tubes? And it even has the word in it, T-U-B. Which one's tubal? Yep. We've got C again. Yep. Not hard. All right. This one, all over the place. Woman, teenager, newborn, and man. We ain't going to be able to do no process of no elimination here. So we just got to see our question. You like that, Empress? Some of them won't be that way. Some of them will. But when they're not that way, I don't want you to freak. We got woman, teenager, newborn, and man. What are we doing with this question? We've got melatonin staining. Just look at your last wording. What is that staining? When do they stain something? Do they stain men? For alcohol liver? No. Do they do women in renal failure? No. Do they stain little teenage boys? Maybe we should, but no. When do we do staining? Yep. When babies are born. Yep. We do a little stain of the amniotic fluid and stuff and make sure that they haven't aspirated anything. Jumping up and down. My husband's looking at me. I'm so glad you found me. That's awesome. I got tons of other things for you to see too, just in case. I think I need to let my cat out. I have the website for tutoring, and plus it shows you how to fix your CPT book for the exam. YouTube is where I post these old YouTube TikTok lives. Messenger is our chat room where everybody you see here in our little live is there. Etsy is pictures of the CPT books of my own in case you want page by page, but I'm happy to teach you how to do it. Our chat room is everybody you see here on TikTok watching this live. They're here too, helping out and sharing questions, and we do that all day long. So if you want to join our little chat group, come find me on Messenger at Jen Brewer, same profile pic, and I can join you. Sometimes we have a little glitch, but usually I can join you. Chloe, you want outside? Let me let her out real quick. Here you go. There you go. Oh, yeah. Does Grandma want one? Does she eat? Let me see. I'm coming back. I'm not frozen. I'm just passing out stuff to the kids. Here you go, Charles. Put that down so you can catch this. Please eat it at the kitchen table because it's got rice and cheese that you can splatter all over the carpet, okay? All right. Sorry, guys. Just passing out stuff to the kids. Okay. Here we go. Let's do another one. we got another one here. I mean, we got sort of orbit and coccyx. I mean, they got two O's in them, but I really don't see anything here we can do our process of elimination on either. So I'm going to have to go to my question. I'm just going to look from the last word. Which one has septum? Which one is it? We know, just like, does your eye have a septum? What does septum? That's usually a division between. We don't divide our ovaries. We don't divide our coccyx bone, our tailbone. Our kidneys don't divide either, but our nose and our heart has 4 chambers. Our nose, I have the worst deviated septum in the world, by the way, and our answer is A. I used to go fishing with my mom and dad. They're big fishermen. They even went on their honeymoon fishing. I hated it. Only child, teenage daughter, 70s and 80s. Yeah, I hated being in the boat fishing with them. But now I look back and loved every minute of it and wish I could go back to doing it. But you got to learn as a kid to enjoy the time that you do have. But we were fishing, and of course Daddy's holding back branches, tree limbs in Sardis Lake in Mississippi, and a couple of them flew back and hit me in the face. I broke it then. I've broken it multiple times doing that, and then breaking ice bags, falling on your toes and breaking your little toes. Those are fun days. Fun days. I wish I could go back to all that. I miss boating with Daddy. Hardcore. All right. I got to remember to duck. So we got spine, hand, male, and nasal. We really have nothing here. We can do process of elimination, but that's okay. It's not too much. Where is lordus? What is that? What's going on when that happens? Is the Lord in your nose, male genitalia, hand, or your spine? Anybody know? Yeah. Good job, guys. Yep. When your spine loses its pretty little curvature and it becomes a straight spine, you lose your center of gravity, and it is called the lordosis, or whatever that is, however you pronounce it. I have no idea. I didn't learn phonics in the 70s. They didn't teach that mess. I got to know the word to know how to pronounce it. All right. Here are our dreaded J codes. Y'all know what's going on when we get into the J codes. We have these upper respiratory things that are hard to code. They're like confusing. Can you have your upper respiratory infection with COPD? What do you call that? Is it exasperated? There's a 10 million guidelines and confusing stuff going on here, but don't let none of that bother you. When you look at these codes, let's do the process of elimination. First diagnosis code. What are we getting rid of and what are we keeping? Let's make this manageable for you guys. Can y'all see it? What are we doing? What are we keeping? What are we getting rid of? Just based off the codes. What are we getting rid of? We are getting rid of A and D, yes. We get rid of A and D simply because they are not the same codes as whatever J29 is. I don't even care what it is. All I'm doing is looking at those two. I know I keep switching up the question. By the time y'all answer, you've answered one, and then I ask a different question. Which one are you keeping? Which one are you getting rid of? I'm way too fast. Sorry. Very good. Very good. So now that we've got it managed, all I want you to do now is think about, okay, do I have 2 diagnoses or do I have 3 diagnoses? That's all you need to find out. So we're going to go to our question. And I don't know why it's not 3 inches long. You see how I have the measurements all the way? It ain't supposed to be way over here. Hold on. Why are you way over there? Why in the world? because I can't get everything into the field. So I have the sidelines like all the way over, but that's not working. I don't know why. Sorry. So we're going to look from the last words backwards, and we are looking for diagnosis codes. That does help. So don't look at the beginning of this thing, only look at the last words. We've got acute bronchitis, because they usually do a bunch of crap talk up here and then give you the final ones at the end. And then we've got a chronic. The physician changes her antibiotics, treats her for both chronic and acute bronchitis. I have taught y'all this one particular thing because I am the only one that teaches our guideline for this. We have a lovely guideline in the front of our ICD-10 book, and it is our very first guideline for an actual code. And I know y'all know this if y'all been with me for a while, but I'm going to spill it one more time because I got somebody new in here today. But our very first guideline is the acute and chronic phase right here, because all the stuff that's before it is mostly definitions. What does and, or, exclude, include mean? But our very first one about our how do you sequence diagnoses is acute and chronic. And our sentence says, if the same condition is described as both acute and chronic and separate subentries exist in the alphabetical index in the same indentation, then you can code both, and you always do acute first. Now, what that sentence means, and I love showing this off because people that take courses never even get to know this information, is in your index, your alphabetical index, that first sentence that's at the very top before it even starts, it says that the vertical yellow line appears in the second and fourth indentation throughout the index. So throughout this index, you got these two yellow lines that are written through here. And if, I'm going to be right back because I'm going to go find the diagnosis code real quick. I'm trying to hold that dang thing down. Oh. If you go to thyroiditis real quick in your ICD index, thyroiditis happens to be one of those diagnosis codes that can also be chronic and acute. You'll see right here that acute and chronic align themselves on that yellow line at the same indentation level. Many of these diagnosis codes are at different indentation levels, but only if the main diagnosis is indented for the acute and chronic on that yellow line can you use that for the same diagnoses in one day. Nobody teaches that. But I figured that out one day by going word by word and defining each one and figuring it out. I even had a coding course back in the 90s that never even taught me that. But that's what that thing means, that we can code them both first, and we would do acute first and then chronic afterwards, right? Is chronic a Z code? No, it wouldn't be. So this patient does have one other problem probably that is chronic with them that was probably up here. But I know that that Z code is not an acute and chronic, and she does have something else going on, right? Or history of... Oh, she's a smoker. That's why. The Z code. So she gets the Z code too. But I know that I can't do the acute and chronic as C because the acute and chronic are going to be right next to each other. Anyway, I know the Z code is history of. Yep. B is your answer. Long story short. All right, here's your next one. Process of elimination. Everything in the front is the same. 3 of the last code is the same, so I'd get rid of A based off that. Then the only difference we have is the middle code. One of them's a 1, one of them's a 5, and one of them's a 3. And those T codes are medications. So I know those are going to be different listings for medications. So what is T? T45. Okay, T45 1X. Oh my gosh. You know what I have singing in my head at the same time I'm sitting here talking is that TikTok trend right now where everybody's doing that Celine Dion song, Gone with the Wind song, is just playing on repeat in my head and I cannot get rid of it. I'm going to have to listen to that TikTok one more time to get it out of my head. I wish I could get Celine Dion out of my head. And they need to quit doing this trending crap because it's driving me nuts. Okay. TX1, T1X1 is poisoning by accidental. We've got the 3 is due to an immunosuppressant drug, and then 05 is an adverse effect. So we've got 2 poisonings and 1 adverse effect. So that means if the physician did the prescribing, it's going to be here. If they did it to themselves, it's going to be a difference between the 2 poisonings. So let's go check it out and see what's going on. So back here, we're going to be looking from the bottom up. Something about management attempted for the heart failure, discontinued antibiotic therapy. That Traz is the medication, and that is a prescribed medication. So I know this is going to be a prescribed medication. So I know the poisoning is out and the other poisoning is out. The only one that it could be is this one, which is the adverse effect, no matter what. Because if a doctor prescribes it, it's always described as an adverse effect. Yep. Very good, Marissa. All right, this is always a confusing one for everybody. So we're at symptoms, history of, HIV, or a history of, right? So our question is, if the patient has history of symptoms of HIV, which one is it? We can definitely get rid of the R. You know it's not going to be that. Yep, B is your answer, for sure. If they've never had any symptoms but are still diagnosed with HIV, they do get a Z code. I think it's the Z21, is it, guys? I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's a Z code. If they've had history of HIV with symptoms ever, they may not even be having symptoms right now, but if they've ever had any symptoms of HIV, they always get the B20. Always. From that point on, ever. Yeah, it's a Z21. I thought so. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Process of elimination. Which two are we getting rid of? I'm not going to repeat it with the other answer, other question. Which two are we getting rid of if you were just looking at the answers? Z37, Z38, Z38, or Z37.2, or Z37.0. Yes, we are getting rid of A and D. Perfect, guys. So we're going to keep these. We know the first code is the same. We don't care. Second code is the same. Don't care. The last code is the same. We don't care. The only difference is this P03 810 and 811. What are those? This book, I swears. Please be sure and hot glue your gun, the little end pieces of your books, those little spiral things. Put a bunch of glue on the end, even if you get, like, I don't know, anything. You don't have to hot glue it. If you don't have hot glue, buy a tube of glue and just squirt it out all over the end pieces. It'll keep your book from spiraling out of the reams. P03. P is such a tiny section. P03, I'm slow. P03 810 and 811, I think is what we were doing. See, the great thing about ICD-10, and I wish to God they did this in the CPT book because it would save us a whole lot of trouble, is the green words are the differences between the two codes. Everything else is black. So before or during, that's the only thing I need to look up in the test question is the green words because they tell you what the two differences are. Love ICD-10 that it does that. I wish CPT did. It'd save us a whole lot of work. So before or during, that's all I'm going to be looking for. If I can get it does not like to look at okay. Here we go. We're going to start at the bottom and work your way up. Are we doing before or after? Or during, I guess it is. During labor or before onset of labor? During labor or after labor, yeah. Yeah, was the child's abnormality, did it only happen during labor? Or was there evidence of this being a pre-labor situation? There was evidence of intrauterine growth retardation. So, did that happen because of the labor? Or only because of labor or during labor? Or did this happen during the whole gestation? No, y'all are letting me confuse y'all. This is the propaganda that is in the question to make you think it was during. Not during, but after or before, pre-labor, whatever. The fetal heart rate deceleration during contraction is the only thing we need to be looking at, really, for this question. And it was only based off of the 11, which is during the contractions. That's all. They put in the evidence of intrauterine growth as propaganda, and it's at the bottom of the question where I like to go. You're going to have about 1 to 2% of questions that, you know, a lot of times the answer is in the top part of your question instead of the bottom part. But it's worth going 99% of the time from the bottom up. And this is one of them that I wanted to show you that can confuse you because they put the propaganda in here. So don't let them. Most of you had it right the first time anyway. You let me confuse you and change you. C is the answer. I'm getting ornery in my old age over here. All right. Process of elimination. What are we keeping? What are we getting rid of? Why are you going in and out, camera? Stop it. Propaganda. All of you had during labor. Y'all let me trick you. Yep, we're keeping A and B for sure. Just the G codes. Moving on to hit picks, right? Where is my hit picks book? Where is that bad boy? I was showing off the colors earlier. Ugh. Underneath all these dang ICDs. No, I don't want that one either. I have to open it. Where's my other one? Where's the purple one? Purple, purple. Well, let me get out this big old bad boy, this 2022 one. Unravel this thing. Let's go look up our differences first. The GO 108 and 109. A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G. I've heard people taking a ruler with them when they do the CPC exam so that they can have one with the alphabet written out on it. GO1. GO1. 08 and 09. I'm sure y'all are already there. I'm slow as Christmas. 06, 08, and 09. This is from the 2022 book. 08 is diabetes and diabetes. Oh my. We got outpatient, outpatient. We got self-management, self-management. We got training, training. Services, services. Group or individual. That's our two differences. Group and individual. And you see how they don't highlight what's the one code or one word difference like they do in ICD-10? Man, I wish they did that here and there. Then I wouldn't have to be going auditing, you know, one by word. I like to go one by one because I don't, I can miss things or misinterpret things, so I have to go one word at a time. I can't skim both and pick it up. I have to do one word at a time. So group or individual. And see, this one's all lined up nicely. I don't know why the other one wasn't. That is so weird. My computer, I'm sure it's confused on what it's trying to do anyway because I've got so many tabs open. Anyway, we've got this guy who's getting training for an hour. Is he in a group setting? Or is he all by himself? Looks like he's all by himself, doesn't it? Yeah. So we've got individual is 08. So that's what I would pick is A. Let's see. Did we get it right? Yep, we did. Good job. Oops, I need to move the next one down. Let me draw tool, change this to this. Need to find my keyboard and hit enter, 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 enter. And move this next question down because I had answers separated. Okay, let's go back to drawing tool. All right, there we go. We got some Z's. All these Z's. Do y'all know where to find that list in your ICD-10 book that will tell you every one of the Z codes you can use as a primary diagnosis code? Did you know there was a list in your ICD-10 book? Well, there it is. And let's see if I can find it in this brand new book that I don't have marked up, because I've typed my guidelines out for 2022 instead of marking them up. Let's see. Social. Here it is. So if you're in 2022 book, it's on page G33. There's an actual, move this, list of all the Z codes that can be listed as your primary care or visit code. A lot of them you are history of or other things. They're here for chemotherapy is your Z51, but the guidelines do have a full list of about a dozen codes, and these are the only ones you can use. It's just primary lists. So when you see a list of answers that are all Z random like this, that's probably where you need to go, and what you're going to do is just go and see if Z67 is on that list, if Z69 is on that list. And since there are only a dozen, it won't take you very long to pick out which one can be primary. But yeah, I think that's what they're asking. Yep, only can be primary. Z32 and the old ones, yeah, makes sense because the only thing they added to the guidelines for this year was a bit more COVID, and then the social determination section, where if people have food insecurities or their homelessness, they have some new guidelines for that. So it's not very much, but a good 1 page worth of new codes. But yes, D is your answer. Very good. Uh-oh. Look at this wordy thing. And look, it didn't split it out. I don't know why. The settings are the same for the whole thing. But don't freak out. Do your process of elimination. What 2 are you getting rid of? Before we do anything else, what 2 are you getting rid of?